Today on Ealon Magazine Online.
Hello and welcome to Ealon Magazine, where brains meet beauty. I'm your host, Desnay Young, and I'm excited to bring to you today a limited series titled Pathways to Success. This series introduces you to young adults who have agreed to sit down with Ealon Magazine and share their career journeys. Our first guest is Ms. Haille Walker. Haille currently matriculates at the University of Miami School of Medicine, where she seeks her master's degree in biochemistry and molecular biology. Haille has had quite the journey, and we're excited that she will share that journey with us today. Good afternoon, Haille. Welcome to M Magazine. We're so pleased to have you with us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Miss Young. It's a pleasure to be here.
Mm-hmm. And you are coming to us from beautiful Miami, Florida, which I assume is you all are having a great day there today.
Oh, yes. It's as sunny as ever today. It's bright outside. It really makes you just want to go outside and go to the beach. But yes, it's beautiful today.
Okay. Well, we are so excited to have you here, and you are participating. You're the first, as a matter of fact, in our series on pathways to success. And as you know, this is a series where we will be speaking to a number of young adults about the career paths that they have chosen and how they made the decision to select these careers. So that being done, you are in the medical profession or heading in that direction as far as a career is concerned. Could you tell us a little bit about what you're doing?
Yes, ma'am. Well, I graduated from Florida A&M University back in 2020 of the spring semester 2020, and I applied for a master's program here at University of Miami. I'm earning my master's in biochemistry and molecular biology. So I'm kind of taking this year to just focus on building up my medical school application as far as getting some more research in and shadowing more doctors, just making myself as competitive as possible when I apply to medical school this year.
Okay. And what particular field of medicine are you headed for?
I'm really interested in pediatrics. It's kind of how I got into medicine in the first place, with pediatrics, working with children at a summer camp back in Orlando. It really showed me how, as children, you need somebody important that's rooting for you, not just a teacher, not just your parent, but your doctor that you feel comfortable with. And as African American, we don't really have that many African American physicians that we can just call and, feel comfortable with. So I felt like, that was something that I really wanted to do. So pediatrics is definitely on my mind.
Okay. Well, Haille, most students that are entering high school have no idea what career path they wish to follow. And unfortunately, upon graduation, they still have no idea what that path is. Did you have an inkling of what direction you wanted to take during your high school years?
So when I was telling you about the summer camp, that was kind of happened during middle school. So I kind of had an idea that I really liked the medical field and the nuances of that back in middle school. But I also was really interested in forensics. I don't know where it came from. So when I was choosing my degree and had an idea of what I wanted to do, I chose biology because I felt like I could go both paths when I finally decided to choose a career. But in high school, yeah, I kind of had an idea, but there's so much pressure in high school just from people trying to ask you where you're going to school at, the pressure of finding a career, the pressure of adolescence. It's so many different pressures, but overall, I kind of did have an inkling.
Okay. Well, did your high school have any programs in place to help steer you in the right direction or guide you? And if so, did you take advantage of any of those programs?
Actually, I wasn't specifically involved with college help programs. I had a couple friends that were involved in Avid, and they were so like ahead as far as what they knew about the different schools and possible professions. So I wasn't actually involved in that, but I know that's probably a great thing for students who um, are looking to find different schools and professions. But my program that I was involved in, I went to a magnet program. I went to Dr. Phillips High School, and we had a magnet program called Center for International Studies. So when you were telling me about your daughter earlier and her travels, I was like, oh, that's something that kind of really helped me in my development as a student, really, because it showed me, there's life outside of the US, and, what it takes to go outside of the US. It needs money. So in order to have money, you have to have a job. So I really would say that maybe that program prepared me for the rigor of college for sure.
Okay, so a lot of young adults are probably looking at this video and they're saying, "Oh my gosh, she's medical school. She's in medical school. She's heading in that direction. She must be super smart." Are you? Or were you in?
No,
Or were you just focused on your goals?
yeah, if I really broke down my story on how I ended up, finally, I'm actually, to be honest, I'm actually finally getting on path for medical school. I took so many different detours. I got lost, my grades fell, like, and I think that's one thing about it's time is you need to be honest with yourself. The path isn't always straight for everybody. And my path was definitely not straight. So I will say that I don't think that I'm the smartest, but I do think that when I put my mind to something that I will do it. And I think that's a mindset that everybody has to have, because you're going to have those people that are innately just smart. It doesn't take them much to study. It doesn't take them much to learn. But some of us, we have to it needs grit. It takes hard work. So, I think I was more so that type of student in high school as well. I definitely think I could have pushed myself harder in high school, but as I transitioned on to college, I definitely gathered that type of mentality towards my latter years.
I can really relate to what you just said because I come from a family of 7, and
Yeah.
I have to tell you that my siblings are really smart, really
Yeah.
smart. But I was the one that had to really study hard, focus, and say, I am going to do this. I am going to get through this. So I worked very, very hard to get through college, as we all should, and most of us do. But some people are just born
Yeah.
smart. They know how to apply themselves, and it comes naturally to a lot of
Yeah,
people.
for
But
sure.
I wasn't one of those people, and so I can definitely relate to having to focus to get through, focus on your work, and be determined. You have to be determined. That's very, very important.
Right. Definitely key. That determination is key.
You chose to attend Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, FAMU. That's what we're all used to saying, FAMU, in Tallahassee, where you majored in biology. So I already asked you if you had made that decision to enter the medical field prior to going to college, and it looks like that's the direction that you were heading. But looking at your resume, it is quite impressive. I mean, going back as far as high school, you have a lot of volunteer work. You do. And prior to college, as well as the summer jobs that you spoke of, in college, you are a member of, as well as hold office in many organizations. So can you speak to the importance of building a resume and how that will affect future employability?
Well, thank you so much. You know, it's kind of funny that you feel like it's a lot, because honestly, when you're at FAMU, everybody is on the go. Everybody is always into something. They're joining something new. And honestly, I felt like I was getting left behind at a certain point, because, when you're trying to go to medical school, you really have to set yourself apart. So one of the key important things is holding leadership roles and having volunteer hours. So when I decided to go to medical school, I was probably, when I finally committed myself, I was probably in my sophomore year of college, and all my friends were in their freshman year and had already done the necessary volunteer work, were already holding positions. They had, like, all these different types of connections, and I felt really, really behind. But ultimately, all those different tasks that I took on, and roles that I took on in college have definitely led me to have these different network opportunities that have been so, so powerful. Like, you know, when I was Miss Collegiate 100, I was able to volunteer in the community. And I got in touch with this lady, and she was the owner, Miss Kim. She's the owner of Dare to Dream Young Girls. And what we did there was we just did some empowerment activities with these girls. And you just see how much of an impact you really have on these young girls, and how much they need other young girls to see, wow, I can do this. So you just really make so many great connections that can lead to you just opening so many doors. And I definitely think that if you're in college right now, please don't just go to school.
So volunteerism is very important. It's important to build that resume. It's important that future employers see how versatile you are and that you do care. Um,
Yeah.
and that's really one of the most important things about being a doctor of any kind is to be the type of doctor that not only is good at what you do, but you care about the people that you're entrusted to take care of. So I
Yes, ma'am.
think that's fantastic. So also in your career path, it's important to put the type of things on your resume that when an employer looks at them, they say, okay, she has volunteered here. You also did some research projects, correct?
Yeah, definitely. So, I did some research. So I did some research at University of Florida about in 2019. And basically what we were doing at University of Florida is trying to figure out the implementation strategies to improve tobacco treatments for UF health cancer patients. So basically when you think about cancer, cancer has a lot of different, it has a lot of different things that can affect your cancer. So at the UF Health Cancer Clinic, tobacco smoking was a very prominent condition or lifestyle that a lot of the patients had that were affecting their overall cancer treatment. So what my overall research kind of influenced was, how do we get these patients to stop smoking? So how do we get them to stop smoking? So we basically would just go in there and introduce different type of treatment plans. Because actually at the clinic where we worked at, there was no really tobacco cessation methods that they had. So the patients were basically just continuing to smoke through their treatments, and continuing to kill themselves. So that was something that was really, really important. I was able to go to this conference in California and present the research. It was like a annual biomedical conference for minorities. And it was super awesome. You saw people of all different races and especially minorities. And it was just seeing us there presenting research scientifically was just like, yeah, we're definitely making some headway.
Okay. And you also worked as a assistant doing research with COVID. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. So right now, actually, so my master's program is a research master's program. So I do have classes, like I'm taking genetics, I'm taking biochemistry, I'm taking classes, but most of my master's is comprised of research. So right now, what we're trying to develop is a point of care test for the coronavirus. So if you're familiar with like a pregnancy test, like a rapid, just know that I have COVID. That's what we're kind of trying to develop in my lab right now.
Okay. That's very, very interesting and quite impressive. Um,
Thank you.
so one of the things that I'm getting from you is that on this type of a career path, if you are truly a student that is interested in pursuing some type of medical profession, is try to get some type of experience, even if you have to volunteer in
Yeah,
the healthcare profession.
yes,
Okay.
yes, for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. Right now, so I'll kind of give you a little bit of background. So with my overall resume that I have right now, it's very research focused. So I have a lot of research. I don't have that many clinical hours, which is why I didn't feel like I was ready to go to medical school. Because when I talked to a college admission a person at Florida State University. He was like, "So you want to be a scientist?" And I was like, "No, I don't want to be a scientist." He was like, "Well, you have all this research. Where's your clinical hours?" So that's really, really important for you students that are wanting to go into the medical field. Get those clinical hours now. Really try to find, maybe even get a secondary or a certification in some type of something like that, because while you're in college, you can do that on the weekends. There's so many things that I wish I knew um, before going to college that I know now that would have prepared me so much more. But, just you allowing me to have this opportunity to really give back what I know is like, it feels really rewarding already. Just sharing, there's so much more than just getting a biology degree.
Now, for high school students, who may be interested in pursuing a career in the medical field, now we both know they're probably not going to be able to get in certain get certain types of jobs or things like that. But volunteerism, perhaps at a hospital or I don't know I don't know if a doctor's office would allow them to do,
Oh,
but would they? Would you talk? Speak to that. What types of things that they could be doing? What types of volunteerism efforts they could be
yeah.
putting forth?
So definitely as high school students, there's so many different things that you can get involved in. They love to see long-term volunteering. So if you're in high school now, you find like anything. It could be like tutoring, it could be feeding the homeless, it could be anything that you feel like you love to do and you really like to help in that area. You find that opportunity and you just go and you just give back as much as you can, because over a long period of time it says, wow, she really likes to do this, and even, sometimes you do have to like make yourself go, honestly, because you know what your goal is in the end. Everything is not going to be like, I always want to go, but it always pays off. And just as far as shadowing goes, a lot of doctors, they will accept high school students to shadow in their office, so don't give up on that either.
Now, a lot of people might think they want to be doctors. They might think they want to be in the medical field, and
Oh yeah.
it's probably very good to try to get as close to the profession as you can, because you may find out you don't like the sight of blood, or you don't like to see a cadaver or anything like that. So, and a lot of people get into these fields. Now, you mentioned forensic science at one time, and that's very, very interesting. So, what made you make the change from forensics to pediatrics?
Well, what I'm going to say about is just becoming a medical doctor is you can't do it for the money. Do not do it for the money because you will be disappointed every single time. You are putting in time, you are putting in your life at this expense of helping other people. And, the money isn't always going to be there. Like while you're on your phase to getting to the money is the time where you have to put the most focus in, So if you're trying to, do it for the career of the money, you're going to spend a lot of time probably being disappointed because you work so hard trying to get there at this point. It has to be because you actually love what you're going to do. So don't do it for the money. But also, what I will say about forensics is, you know, I like the idea of criminology. I like the idea of, crime scene investigation, everything like that. I thought it was so cool. But I've always really been more focused on the medical route. I just didn't believe in myself. And that's what honestly took me so long to fully commit because, like I was telling you, I'm the type of student that has to work really hard, So going in the school, I I kind of was felt defeated as far as I don't know if it's going to be something that I personally can do. So it was a lot of self doubt that really was resonating all the time. And finally, I think I talked to one of my guidance counselors, and she really just gave me that extra push that I needed to really commit. And she was like, you know what, you can do this. And I don't know if it was just coming from her because she had seen and admitted a lot of her students through medical school. So I really trusted in her, ultimate idea of what she thought of me. So, but really, it was really self doubt that led me not to choose the medical route first or even have, forensics in the background.
Is there any particular person that mentored you throughout this process, or still mentors you um, on a day-to-day or monthly basis? Or and would you recommend that young people interested get a mentor?
Oh yeah. I never had one specific mentor that I stuck onto for a long period of time, but I've had several individuals that have definitely influenced my role, definitely influenced my journey. Like I've had, different teachers that come in and out of my life that have really propelled me. I've had different academia counselors, like I told you, that propelled me. And then I have different friends, my mom will introduce me to somebody and they'll help me, So I've had definitely a lot of different angels, I would say, that have really helped me throughout my journey. So, but ultimately, if you can find a good mentor, I would definitely find a good mentor, because just having somebody that has already been through that that path as you have, they know so much more than you. They have that wisdom that they can help you avoid certain situations. So I feel like if I had a mentor, I would probably be so much farther ahead than I am now. But it's okay, because hopefully one day I can be a good mentor to somebody.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. So, talk us through the steps of, becoming a medical professional from the time you graduate high school. What should you already have when you graduate high school if you're considering going into the medical profession?
Yeah, so okay, so definitely when you graduate high school, you have to graduate high school knowing, almost knowing, you're kind of certain. Well, I'm going to talk about the best possible, route. So I guess graduating high school knowing that you want to go into the medical field, because when you get to college, you don't really have time to play games too much. You can play games, but you know that you need to get those all A's and B's, mostly A's, so you can prepare yourself for the best GPA, because that best GPA allows you to do really good on your medical admission board test. So your MCAT, that's something important. You can't go to medical school. Well, there's some schools that are allowing you to get in without it, but you can't go to medical school without your MCAT. So if you're focused in high school, you will do so much better. I mean, if you're focused in college, you will do so much better on your MCAT, because there's not going to be so much that you have to relearn and reintroduce, because you've already really studied it, mastered it, got an A in that grade, in that course, and you will do really exceptional on your MCAT. So that GPA combined with your MCAT, combined with those volunteer opportunities, combined with leadership roles, not just clubs, leadership roles, and just really good, strong recommendations. That would be almost, perfect in order to get into medical school. Also research, try to get some research in while you're in college, and really connect with your teachers. I will stress that every single time. They are the ones that have to write your recommendation. So even if you hate the class, sit in the front. Sit in the front, wave to the teacher, because if it's a class that everybody hates, majority of the time, everybody's going to feel the same way you do. But you can stick out like that, and they'll be more apt to be like, you know what? Hi. And you can easily just say, hey, I did well in your class. Can you write me a recommendation?
Fantastic. Well, you have definitely given us a lot to think about, and I hope that those out there watching and who are considering a career in the medical field will take heed to the advice that you've given us here today. I want to say thank you for being here. I feel so blessed that you agreed to do this series with us, and I look forward to sharing it with our audience. And hopefully, as we follow you through your career, because we will, we're seeing fantastic things from you, Haille. Thank you so much again for agreeing to be on a magazine podcast.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful and blessed day. Don't forget to stay up to date on the latest in podcasts and videos. Push subscribe, notification, and like below.